Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. My name is Vanessa. I'm here to support you for the rest of your practice. So thank you for opening up this video. We're going to begin as we usually do in a restorative pose. Let's release and lay on our backs. Noticing that this point of transitioning towards the beginning of class, shifting to laying down is the process, or is a process to support you in noticing your breath, noticing how your body is informing you, making adjustments, inhaling and exhaling intentionally and purposely. You're noticing the quality of your breath without judgment, just noticing what's here right now at this moment. Scanning from the back of your head all the way down to your heels. Perhaps noticing which areas in your body you'd like to focus on today. Maybe it's your lower back or your hips. And then inviting intentional breaths as part of your practice, not just for focus, but being aware of this present moment. This is part of our holistic yoga class. Arriving to this moment, releasing our to-do lists and creating a little bit more space between those streams of thoughts and becoming more body sensitive. Inhale here, exhale, sigh out. Building that bridge of our physical, mental, emotional body. Inhale, exhale, sigh out, releasing physical, mental, emotional tension. Feel free to hear your inhale and exhale. And then whenever you find yourself having trouble in concentrating, feel free to lengthen your inhale and exhale just a little longer than you're accustomed to. That's just enough to shift your attention, supporting you and being attentive and creating a little bit more space between you and those distractions, which is normal. I'd like to emphasize to students that we're not trying to delete our thoughts. That's going to be very difficult, and even the act of trying to do so can be pretty exhausting. You're cultivating more body sensitivity. Even here, as you're laying down, you can notice how you can soften a little bit more on neck or shoulders, back. There's a few more breaths here, inhaling, exhaling. Belly expands, notice that release. And then invite a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, pointing your toes, lifting your abdomen up towards the ceiling. Release any compression there in the lower back, mid back. Once again, checking in with your body, seeing where would you like to place most of your attention and focus today? Neck, shoulders, lower back, hips, hamstrings. What is the personal part of your practice communicating to you? Another breath here or two. And then we'll start to release our hands and arms. Let's focus here on our hamstrings. Let's bend our right knee and then lengthen our leg up towards the ceiling. We're going to interlace our fingers right behind our thigh. You're lengthening your leg. You can always have a little micro bend, a small bend to your knee, but do try to lengthen your leg here. It's going to intensify stretch anywhere in calf and hamstrings. We're going to rotate our ankle clockwise, counterclockwise. Notice we tend to not place a lot of attention into our feet. So take a moment here, spreading your toes, flexing your foot, rotating your ankle. And breathe into any of the stretches there. You'll notice a stretch activated in the calf just by flexing your right foot. And then you can release that rotation and focus a little bit more on the hamstrings by lengthening your leg, bringing your thigh closer towards your belly and chest. And you do so by applying some gentle pressure against your thigh, thus bringing your leg closer towards your belly and chest. And it can be a very subtle shift. Breathe into your hamstring. You can remain here, or you can shift the stretch by dropping your leg towards the left and the right, either keeping a sway or holding one position. This kind of goes back to your personal practice here. So where do you want to place that attention? Wherever it is, breathe. Use your breath to assist you in learning more, holding a little bit more, supporting that flexibility, shifting past your boundary, exploring something new. Notice that type of breath that begins at the belly. And what I mean by that is you're just noticing that belly expand. We tend to center our breath around our chest, nose. And then after another breath, you'll bend that right knee. You'll grab that knee with your hands. I'm going to shift the stretch into the back. We'll take your forehead up towards your knee. Take your chin towards your chest. You want that stretch in the neck, upper back, mid back, lower back. Core activation as well. And release. Opposite side. Lengthen that left leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers right behind that thigh. Lengthen your leg. You can rotate your ankle. Flex that left foot. Spread your toes. Place attention to that left foot. We tend to not appreciate our feet, even though that's what allows us to move throughout our day. And then you'll notice that by placing attention to your feet, it supports you when you're grounding in warrior poses, when you're in balance. That's why you want to place attention. I'm surprised that a lot of classes actually don't really emphasize the feet. Remember that deep belly breath. Inhale. Exhale. You release that rotation, focus on your hamstrings. You can apply that gentle pressure against your thigh. Bring your thigh closer towards your belly, chest. Hold. And then remaining here, we're swaying your leg towards the left and towards the right. It's going to shift stretches into the lower back and hip and glutes. You can hold or keep that sway. Breathe deeply. Inhale. Exhale. Another 2 or 3 breaths here. And then start to release, bending your left knee, grabbing that left knee with your hands, round your spine, forehead towards your knee. Activate that core. And then drop your head back. Let's bend both knees, both feet flat off the floor. Rock just a little bit towards the left and right here. And then place that left foot onto the floor. Rest your right ankle right on top of your thigh. Weave your right hand between your legs. Interlace your fingers right behind that left thigh and hold. Either hanging in here or bringing your thigh closer towards you. Intensify that stretch in that right hip. Breathe into your boundary, another breath here or two. And release, opposite side. Oh, excuse me. All right, so left ankle on top of your right thigh. You're weaving your left hand between your hands. Interlace your fingers behind that right thigh. Hang in here. You're placing your attention on your left hip. Inhale. Exhale. Notice your boundary, about 2 more breaths. And then release that left foot, feet float off the floor, hands towards knees, round your spine, forehead towards your knee. And then let's release. Let's go ahead and shift. Shift into a tabletop position, hands right beneath your shoulders, knees, hips width distance apart. We're going to lift our left leg, bend our knees, stack our hips, hold. And release, opposite side, lift your right leg, bend your right knee, stack your hips. We're going to bend that knee for stretch around the quad. Release your knee down towards the floor. Inhale, up cow. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. A couple times at your own pace. Pressing through your palms, tops of the feet on the floor. Making sure you're opening up the chest, lifting the tailbone in that cow pose. And tucking that tailbone in your cat pose. And then after one more round, we'll release, or not release, we'll lift up into a forward fold. So ground through your feet. Please be mindful of neck, softening the head, dropping the head. There's a gentle bend to your knees. Let's inhale, press through our feet, sweep our arms up overhead. We're going to remain in an extended mountain pose. That's arms lifted, palms facing each other. You lift your chin, lift your gaze, arms radiate, chest is open. You're grounded through your feet. Inhale, exhale, and hands meet in front of your heart center. Let's take a moment to ground here. Part of our purpose of our holistic yoga class is to bridge our physical, mental, emotional bodies with our breath. Cultivating that inner sense of spaciousness, of stillness. And granted, sometimes that stillness is more accessible, sometimes less so. Notice where you're at with no judgment. And invite an inhale here. Exhale, side out. Release your hands. We're going to lift our arms up. Palms up towards the ceiling. Our feet are grounded onto the mat. We're going to stretch towards the left side of the room. And side body stretch here. Stretch throughout the upper torso. And then opposite side. Release, come back to center. Arms come out to a T. Notice your shoulders, that they're not crunched up. Slide those shoulders down. And now you're going to anchor through your feet. To the best of your ability, keep your hips square towards the front as you lead with your chest, your heart. Take your gaze over that right hand. It's all right if your hip opens up a little bit towards the right. We're just doing our best to keep it squared. So we're inviting that twist. Come back to center and then opposite side. Release, release your hands. Interlace your fingers. Either palms touch or they don't. Now, as I'm here, I'm purposely extending my elbows, arms radiate back. There's an opening to my chest. I have a gentle lift to my chin, a lift in my gaze. Ground with your breath. And then leading through your chest, heart, fold. Soften neck. Drop your head. And then hands to your shins. Inhale halfway up. So here my shoulders slide back and my back is flat. There's a generous bend to my knees and breathing into my hamstrings. So 2 more rounds. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling halfway up. Exhaling, folding. 1 more round. Inhale up. Exhale, release. Your choice. You can sweep your arms up overhead or you can roll up slowly. Arms dangle, head comes up last. You're anchoring through your heels. You're noticing that line of energy slowly lengthen from the base of your spine through the top of your head. Mountain pose. Let's take a mountain pose, hands framing our hips. Now, eyes can be open or closed. If your eyes are open, focus on one point across the floor or room. In this mountain pose, we're inviting an active mountain pose. If I try to move you, it'd be difficult to do so. Your body is active. Palms and fingers radiate. You're anchored through your heels, glutes and core are active. Breathe into your toes and fingertips, top of your head. Eyes opened or closed. Definitely part of the more difficult parts of yoga is that stillness. Inhale. By welcoming our breath, we're welcoming our experience. This is a process of exercising self-care, self-compassion. And then after another breath, you can start to soften that mountain pose. Notice that transition from being very active to softening the body. And that's part of cultivating that body sensitivity. That's one of our goals. We want to see how our body is informing us. We want to notice our body when it's active, when it's passive, when it's soft, when it's strong. All right, so warrior one, we're going to take our left foot forward. Right foot's going to be in a diagonal. Your hips will naturally square towards the front. So anchor through that right heel and then pivot your hips towards the front. Notice your knee. Right now, my knee is not bent enough. I want to get more of a 90-degree bend to that knee. So your legs are these scissors. You're grounded on the mat, but they can't close. You want to have that sensation. If you do so, you're going to notice your glutes are more active, your quads as well, and you're opening more in the hips. All right, let's lift our arms up. You can lift your gaze either straight ahead or lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. If you lift your gaze up towards the ceiling, you're inviting more of a little arch to your spine. If you're taking your gaze straight ahead, you're tucking in your core more, your spine is long. So please notice those little differences with your spine and your core. Steady gaze and steady mind, breathe. A pose of strength and stability. Take your hands in front of your heart center. Take a breath. Noticing left hand press against right hand press against left hand. Cup your forearms with your hands or elbows. Lengthen that left knee, drop your chest so it's parallel to the floor and hold. Deep belly breath. And then release your hands to frame that left foot. Now we're gonna come into standing splits. That means you're gonna take your hands forward. Make sure your shoulders stack above your fingertips, your hands. So my fingertips are on the mat. And now I'm pressing that left foot onto the mat, lifting my right leg as high as I can, simultaneously softening my neck, dropping my head, no crunching around the neck, dropping my belly towards that left thigh, towards the floor. And now right foot meets that left foot. 3 rounds, inhale halfway up, back is flat, shoulders roll back. Sync up your breath, please soften neck, drop your head. And then after those 3 rounds, your choice, roll up slowly or sweep your arms up overhead. Make this your personal practice. Hands in front of your heart center or hands framing your hips. Let's inhale here, exhale, side out. Release your hands, warrior one. Right foot shifts forward, left leg steps back, left foot is in a diagonal. You have a 90-degree bend to that right knee. You want to anchor that left heel and pivot your hips towards the front. You're tucking in your core, you're sliding your shoulders down. Lift your arms up overhead, either lifting your gaze, inviting a nice arch to your spine, or taking your gaze straight ahead, core active. And imagine your legs are these scissors attempting to close. Activate glutes and quads, open up hips. Steady gaze. Invite a powerful breath, bridging physical, mental, emotional bodies. Take your hands in front of your heart center, one breath. Grip your forearms or elbows with your hands. Lengthen that right knee, drop your chest so it's parallel to the floor. Hold, you're breathing into that right hip, right hamstring. You can have a little bend to that right knee. Slide your shoulders back. And now drop your hands to the mat, preparing for your standing splits. You take your hands forward. Soften neck and head. Press through that right heel. Lift your left leg as high as you can. Please soften your neck. Inhale. Exhale, left foot meets that right foot. Inhale, halfway up, 3 rounds. Exhale, second round. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, soften neck and head. Step back into a downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale. Deep belly breath. And now take your gaze right between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Either roll up slowly or sweep your arms up overhead. Hands in front of our heart center, preparing for one sun salutation. Release your hands. Inhale, arms lift. Exhale, fold down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, step back, plank pose, release down towards the floor. Inhale, up, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing into the backs of your legs. Grounding through your palms, lifting your hips and heels. Hold. And then step your legs back, plank pose. Release down towards the floor, belly onto the mat. Hands shoot out behind you, or you can interlace your fingers, palms touch or they do not. Point your toes, lift up. Exhale, release. 4 more times. Inhale up. Exhale, release. A total of 5 times. On that 5th round, mentally prepare yourself. Stay there an extra breath or 2. Feel free to hear your inhale, hear your exhale. And release, palms onto the mat, lift up, upward facing dog. And then step back into a child's pose, knees close together or towards the edges of your mat. Intentionally lengthen the length of your inhale and exhale just a little bit more. It's going to support you in your concentration, arriving to the mat. Deep belly breath. A 1 or 2 more breath cycles here in your child's pose. And ground both palms onto the mat. 1 cow and cat pose, protecting our spine. And after that cat and cow pose, shift into a cross-legged position. Make any adjustments to be comfortable here. I want to emphasize lengthening the spine, but not from a sense of, I don't know, sort of over-exaggerating lengthening the spine. I want you to just notice a gentle activation in the core and some mindfulness around the shoulders, noticing if they're a little tense or lifted, purposely drawing them down. An open chest versus a curved or rounded chest. So little subtle ways to lengthen the spine. Again, not moving towards that exaggerated lengthening the spine that just feels more unnatural. You want to find where that zone of comfort is, where you're active, the spine is long, shoulders are relaxed. You're anchoring your sit bones onto the mat. Those are the bones near your glutes. Hands soft on your knees. And then a little mini meditation of focus. Keep your eyes open, find a point to focus on, and then 3 breaths. At any point, inhaling, exhaling, sighing out. On your following inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Palms up towards the ceiling. And now release your hands right behind your head. Twist towards the left and the right. Either moving quickly between both sides or holding one side. And then after a few rounds, release, hands on knees. We'll drop our chin towards our chest and roll our head from one shoulder to the next. Either half a circle or full circle. Please take a moment to linger in any spot that feels sore or tense. Shift your awareness, sides of the neck, throat, back of the neck, upper back and shoulders. Just 2 or 3 more breaths here. And start to bring your head back to center, hands on knees. Let's inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. And then after that breath, let's lay down. Make sure you have room behind you. Palms up towards the ceiling, core workout. Round your spine, release. You're gonna hover, your feet can float off the floor. Hold. And then drop your feet, drop your head. Another inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. And then bend both knees, both feet on the floor. Lift your hips as high as you can. Hold. Palms are on the mat. Heels are grounded. You want to imagine a cord lift you up from the center of your abdomen. And release your hips back down towards the floor. Feet float off the floor. Rock to the left and to the right. You can take a full body stretch or otherwise, so shift into your last resting pose of the class, your Shavasana. So here your legs are long, palms face up towards the ceiling. Hands framing your hips, backs of the hands on the floor or mat. And then we take a moment here to rest. So this is a pose where we integrate our practice, where we release, we let go, we receive. It's a pose that teaches us the wisdom of slowing down, of being, of doing nothing. How these are actually very active forces. This passiveness, the softening, the doing nothing, it has its own wisdom. Performance and action and doing are all very good, but culturally we tend to emphasize this portion of doing nothing. Therefore, we want to emphasize that for our holistic well-being, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Soften your forehead, jaw, neck, and shoulders, upper back, mid back, lower back, hips behind your knees, down to your ankles and toes. Release from the toes and fingertips. And observe thoughts and sensations without judgment. And then we'll start to shift our attention back to our breath, inviting a generous and a leisurely inhale and exhale. And that's a very specific type of breath or where we release our sense of time. There is no hurry. You can restore some movement to your fingertips and toes. You have the option of inviting a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, or you can turn your body to the side. You can also remain on your back. Inhale here, exhale, you can sigh it out. Return to that generous and that leisurely breath. And then after another breath or two, you can start to make your way up to your seat, whatever that seat looks like for you. Move so slowly and with presence. You've been cultivating a lot of stillness and spaciousness, not only throughout class, but our Shavasana anchors that sense of stillness and spaciousness. So be present and aware of that, and notice that that's always accessible to you. And one of the entry points is through your breath. So in honor of our breath, we'll seal the class with an intentional breath cycle. Let's take our hands in front of our heart center. Let's inhale here. And exhale, release. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. May we walk with each other in gratitude.